What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to this edition of Sharpe Shorts. It's good to have you guys in this afternoon. Shout out to iBrabblebush with the early $5 super chat. Says justice won't truly be served until Mr. Cosby has sued every last person involved who smeared him into the most dankest basement of the poorhouse. Strong words there by iBrabblebush. Let me just make sure all systems are go here. Okay, we're looking good. You guys can hear me. I can see you. Looking real good. You never really know. You never really know on these impromptu streams what's going to happen on the technical side, but it appears that all systems are go, and we're good to go. So we'll go ahead and get started here. So a couple days ago, this past Wednesday, Bill Cosby's conviction was overturned, and he was subsequently released from prison. Obviously, living in the greater Philadelphia metropolitan area, it's all anyone around here can seem to talk about. Not surprisingly, this has had an extremely divisive effect on the population as a whole. Those who think justice was served tend to be African American, and those who disagree tend not to agree. Now, this isn't to say that there aren't African Americans who believe that Bill Cosby should still be in prison. Doesn't mean that there aren't non-blacks who think he should be free. But by and large, the opinions on Mr. Cosby seem to be divided along racial lines. Now, personally speaking, and this might be unpopular, but personally speaking, I can't really seem to decide one way or another, right? And I'm being real here, guys. On one hand, one could make a strong argument about his guilt, what with his incriminating deposition in the civil suit Andrea Constand filed against him. But on the other hand, using the statements made in that deposition for the civil case, when the previous district attorney allegedly promised it would not be used in the criminal case, would lead one to believe that this was a gross miscarriage of justice. So now I ask myself, does it really matter? Does it really matter whether or not Cosby is guilty? Right? Before I get into that, I'd like to remind you guys, make the announcement that the second Conference of Masculine Excellence will be October 21st through October 24th, this October 21 through October 24th in Dallas, Texas. The CME 2 will be October 21st through the 24th in Dallas, Texas. Ticket prices are going to be substantially lower than they were before. Certainly learned my lesson there. MasculineExcellence.com to be updated on the details. Again, CME 2, spread the word. The second Conference of Masculine Excellence is going to be October 21st through October the 24th. So I'm very happy to be announcing that as well. October 21st through October the 24th. Anyway, let me go back to my... Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Anyway, personally speaking, I can't really decide, right? So again, I have to ask myself, does it really matter whether or not Cosby is guilty? Now, it is very difficult to compartmentalize your feelings about this sort of thing in terms of being objective. I'll just admit to you, I'm a human being. Listen, Bill Cosby is black, as am I. So I'm already, I guess, racially predisposed or mentally predisposed to give him the benefit of the doubt, so to speak. In the same vein, I can certainly imagine a female automatically assuming his guilt given her biological makeup in the form of two X chromosomes. Right? Now, there are elements about the court of public opinion in this case that reminds me of the OJ case. That's right, guys. A lot of this reminds me of the OJ case. Stay with me here. It appeared that most black people thought OJ was innocent, or at the very least wanted him to be acquitted, and the majority of non-black people, white people, thought he was guilty. The racial divide in this country was on full display as the verdict of not guilty was reached by the jury. We've all seen the YouTube videos, right? African Americans, we jump for joy, while Caucasian Americans appeared to be shocked and appalled. Now, I was an 18-year-old college kid at that time, and I, like most other black people, jumped for joy. I was happy that he got off for no other reason but that he was black. Well, now, better than, 2.5 decades later, I am 244% sure that OJ did it. However, OJ deserved his freedom. He deserves, listen, a lot of people might scoff at this assertion, but it's true. It's true. OJ deserved his freedom. Listen, Simpson hired the best legal team money could buy. He did that. He used his Machiavellian characteristics to not only influence the jury, but to influence his and the opposing legal team. O.J. Simpson's not guilty verdict was a perfect storm, a series of fortunate, or I guess whichever way you decide to look at it, or unfortunate, highly unlikely events. Just to name a few off the top of my head, the trial was held in Los Angeles County, where the population there was far more diverse in the way of being a melting pot of different races of people, rather than in Simi Valley, which is predominantly Caucasian. That is listen, Simi Valley is located in Ventura County, which is predominantly Caucasian, right? That was a huge factor. I imagine former Los Angeles District Attorney Gil Garcetti, who made the decision to have Simpson tried in LA County rather than Ventura County, would probably do it differently if given the opportunity. Just my opinion. Another huge factor was the ineptitude of Chris Darden, who was the lead prosecutor with Marcia Clark sitting first chair. Darden did not represent himself, nor did he represent his profession well, as he continuously stumbled over himself with bad decision after bad decision after bad decision, the worst of which was one of the most iconic scenes in a courthouse, probably in U.S. trial history, which was O.J. Simpson trying on those gloves. Now, if someone were to ask me if I thought O.J. was guilty, my answer would be simply no. No, O.J. was not guilty. He was acquitted by a jury of his peers. So no, O.J. Simpson is not guilty. Now, if someone were to ask me if I think he did it, my answer would be yes. But that doesn't matter, guys. Whether or not I think O.J. did or didn't, that is immaterial based on the result of his jury trial. Stay with me here, guys. Stay with me. I'm going to bring it back around, okay? O.J. was found not guilty. End of discussion. My opinion or anyone else's doesn't matter. Here's how this ties into this element of the Cosby case. I've done, 2, maybe 3 videos about O.J. on different levels. Go back in the 100s, 200s, maybe 300s. I also wrote an article about it on Return of Kings called, I think it was 3 Reasons the Saga of O.J. Simpson confirms RP truth, right? It's still up there. Anyway, most people who disagree with my assertion that O.J. did in fact do it are African American. And guys, I've heard every problem. I've heard every argument. Well, Nicole had a drug problem, right? It was a mob hit. She was in too deep with the mafia. Or my favorite, the gloves didn't fit. All right? First off, there's no proof she had a drug problem, okay? And even if she did, that would have nothing to do with her violent death. Secondly, if Nicole's death were really a mafia hit, not only would they never have found her body, it would have been much cleaner. Listen, when a mafia does a hit, it's bada bing, bada boom. There's no proof. No blood, no evidence, no nothing. It would have been a lot cleaner. Her injuries were not consistent with the way people normally get whacked. And finally, the gloves. The gloves. Gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, watch the documentary, O.J. Made in America. O.J. Simpson had major arthritis in his hands. Years of playing professional football, set all kinds of records with the Buffalo Bills, won the Heisman 1960-something with USC, et cetera, et cetera. He was on medication for his arthritis. Well, if he didn't take the medication, his knuckles would swell up and his hands would become inflamed. They'd swell. Well, OJ's former agent, Mike Gilbert, who later ended up robbing him, he overheard that Christopher Darden was thinking of making OJ try on the gloves in front of the jury. Right? So Gilbert goes back and tells OJ, and I'm paraphrasing here, he said, you should probably stop taking your arthritis medication if Darden is going to make you try on the gloves. Well, Simpson stops his medication. Darden foolishly asks OJ to try on the gloves. And what ensued, again, was probably the greatest moment any defense team has ever had in a murder trial. Now, I'm sure that there will be people who disagree with me. I'm sure that I'll get all kinds of theories and a lot more evidence that O.J. Simpson didn't do it. And what most of those people will have in common is that they are African American. Okay? These are the same people who will tell you that Deontay Wilder won the first fight with Tyson Fury. And look, guys, I get it. I really do. I get it. I wanted O.J. to be not guilty because he was black. I'm black, he's black, right? I wanted Deontay Wilder to beat Tyson Fury because he's black. I have more in common, it seems, with Deontay Wilder than Tyson Fury. The human condition is to identify with those you have the most in common with. And race is an extremely strong tie that binds. It really is. And it's weird. It's weird. It feels very weird trying to think objectively when a black man is on trial for having wronged a white female. It really is, guys. And this is why, despite my stance on OJ and the Wilder Fury Now trilogy, and by the way, this might actually be the first, what's the four? Trilogy is three. What's the trilogy word for four? If Wilder knocks out Fury, we've got to have another four. We've got to have another fight, right? First one was a draw. Tyson Fury won the last one. Wilder wins this one. We have to go to part four. Anyway. Despite my feelings about those things, I honestly cannot make up my mind as to whether or not I believe that Bill Cosby should be behind bars. Listen, on one hand, and I'm just thinking out loud here, guys. I'm just being honest. On one hand, I want to think objectively, right? But on the other hand, I know that black people have been railroaded in the court system. I know this, right? I know that they have been railroaded by the justice system going back as far, really, as anyone can remember. Devin and I recently watched a documentary called Paradise Lost. It's called Paradise Lost. It was about 3 white teenage boys who were convicted of murdering 3 8-year-old boys. Horrific crime. Well, the long and the short of it is that these 3 boys were railroaded by the Arkansas court system. They all had airtight alibis. They had neither the motive nor the opportunity to commit the crime they were convicted of, yet they were all convicted of capital murder and received life sentences. Now, watching that documentary, it seemed plainly obvious to me that these guys didn't do it, right? Evidence that would have exonerated them was either purposefully neglected, hidden or swept under the rug, or never made available to the jury. The one piece of evidence the jury used to convict these boys was an obviously coerced confession by one of the teenage boys, but the confession was never brought up in court, yet the jury's decision, the jury was made aware of this confession. You guys can go and check it out if you want, because there's a lot more detail, okay? But the point is that Damian Eccles, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Miss Kelly were all clearly innocent of this crime. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it for you guys. If you guys want to go and check that out, it's actually a very good documentary. I will tell you that the ending is bittersweet. I'll just leave it at that, right? But the reason I brought that up is because in my mind, and here's what I'm ultimately saying here. In my mind and the mind of Donovan Sharpe, it is far, far worse to convict the innocent than it is to free the guilty. I know some people may not agree with that. That's the way I feel. Look, man, we all know Scott Peterson did it, right? We all knew we knew he was guilty. We knew Ted Bundy did all the crimes he was accused of. We all know that Ted Kaczynski was guilty of sin. But what about Bill Cosby, right? Nobody really knows whether or not he did the crimes he was accused of and subsequently convicted of. But there is more than enough reasonable doubt to safely assume that he probably should have been acquitted. Right? You see, guys, when criminal courts start using the legal standard that civil courts use, this is when the innocent are wrongly convicted. The burden of proof in a civil court case, it's called the preponderance of the evidence. Okay? The preponderance of the evidence states that if it is more likely than not that the defendant is responsible for whatever the plaintiff is accusing him of, then the court finds for the plaintiff. More likely than not. This is why OJ's criminal case, he was acquitted and lost his civil case to the tune of $33 million. He was held responsible. But it seems fairly clear to me that Cosby's jury did not use, nor did they apply the correct burden of proof. The prosecution came nowhere near meeting its burden. Yet, Cosby was convicted and sentenced to 10 years, served damn near 3 years in prison. Now, maybe Bill Cosby really did do these things. Maybe he didn't. But what I will say is that based on what we as the public know about all of the evidence and the things that transpired, it would be very difficult for me to imagine a jury returning a guilty verdict. You guys know that I very, very rarely read the comments, but I'm going to read the comments on this one. I really am, because I'm very interested to hear everyone's point of view. And just to be clear, guys, listen, man, it doesn't matter whether or not I think Cosby did it or not. But I'm looking for something that will make me at least feel a little bit better about this particular situation. You guys are making some strong comments in the chat. Janik L'Italian, 25 Hong Kong dollars, says Bill Cosby, like Uncle Phil, was a father figure to a lot of people. If they locked him up, what does that say about Cardi B? There you go, man. Cardi B admitted to having committed the crime of robbery, theft. Yeah, I used to drug my Johns, steal their wallets and their money. Yet, she is the role model for today's teenage girls. It's incredible. Technomage B5, $10. Appreciate that. Says, when 20 of the 60 women coming forward, he puts in air quotes, against Cosby were debunked instantly. Says he got her in New York. He was doing a show in LA that night, for example. I knew someone was orchestrating the attacks. Yeah. Deshaun Watson, anybody? Deshaun Watson, anybody? Deshaun Watson, for those of you who don't know, was in kind of a standoff with the Houston Texans. Deshaun Watson wanted to be traded, as he should. The Texans show no desire to win, right? So Deshaun Watson digs his feet and says, like, listen, man, if you guys won't trade me, I'll either retire or I'll sit out the season. All of a sudden, these accusations start coming out against Watson. There's not a fair-minded person alive that doesn't think that the Houston Texans higher-ups organizations didn't have anything to do with that. Mo Marizzle, $10, says, glad to see the channel back. Love the content. Appreciate that very much. New York Knights Wonder, good to see you in here. Says, nothing about the new DA's case was kosher. He violated the rules of evidence and the fruit of the poison tree doctrine by bringing in the tainted deposition of Cosby. Not only that, they allowed 5 women who made accusations about him back in the 80s testify. Jonathan Hill, $10, says, in my opinion, he did some of it, but it only came out because he was trying to buy NBC, so he got taken down for all the reasons. I've heard that before. Peter Lee, $5, says, welcome back. Thought you were canceled and could not find your videos yesterday. Yep, my channel got taken down again, and it appears that I have my channel back again. I saw a comment earlier where a guy wants to know how I can stop. I forget who it was. He wants to know how I can stop getting my channel taken down. Listen, man. If you guys want to listen, man, I know that I'm not going to have this channel forever. I think that's obvious, right? I think that's obvious. Guys, if you want to keep up with my content, sign up for my newsletter. It's absolutely free. Even if they find some way to take all of my content off of the internet, you'll always know what I'm doing. You'll always know where I'm coming from. And again, my channel being taken down had nothing to do with YouTube. This was not an SJW thing. No, none of that's involved. This was a person who believes that he is in some sort of rivalry with me. I think we all know who that is, but now you have your choice. You can either go there or you can either go to the Conference of Masculine Excellence, October 21st through the 24th, this October 21 through 24th in Dallas. All right. Peter Lee, $5, says, cancel culture and trial by Twitter influenced the case. Of course, if it was a woman who did this crime, there is no punishment, i.e. Cardi B. Sylvester Bell says that the judge allowed this. Over on the Sharpe stream side, Geek Anomaly says, personally, I do consider Felicia Rashad's support of him to be very telling. I agree. Felicia Rashad, of course, Claire Huxtable, played Heathcliff Huxtable's wife on The Cosby Show. Listen, we all watched The Cosby Show. Like, dude, the Cosbys were who everybody wanted to be. The Cosbys was who everybody wanted to be. Geeky Anomaly says, it's better that the guilty walk than the innocent be unjustly punished. I am 100% in favor of that. To me, it is far worse to convict the innocent than it is to free the guilty. I mean, I would rather let guilty men walk than to convict innocent men. I think that is and I don't want to spoil that documentary I was talking about. Those boys got railroaded. They really did. Dre Raven says, personally, and I'm white, I'm highly skeptical of people not reporting crimes for 30 to 40 years. And I remember back with OJ, my thoughts were that the cops and the prosecutors did at best shoddy work. And I agree, Geeky, the duty of prosecution is to prove guilt beyond, well, here's the thing. It's not he said guilt beyond the shadow of a doubt, not for the accused to prove their innocence. No, there's a big difference between guilt beyond all reasonable doubt and guilt beyond the shadow of a doubt. If the standard of proof, if the burden of proof on the prosecution was guilt beyond the shadow of a doubt, our prisons would probably be empty. No, it is guilt beyond, and I hear what you're saying, it's just guilt beyond all reasonable doubt. Geeky Anomaly says, we see this repeatedly. Waiting years to accuse, waiting until the person is rich, waiting until the last second, statute of limitations, And it's always the victim testimony only. No DNA, no prints, no video, no nothing. I co-sign that. TM Flesh says Cosby never actually confessed to a crime. Kavanaugh, quadrilogy, is it called a quadrilogy? A quadrilogy? That's funny. A quadrilogy. Yeah, Wilder Fury could quite possibly be the first quadrilogy ever. We all know about the great trilogies. Bo Holyfield, Arturo Gatti versus Mickey Ward. Jesus Christ. Dude, there have been some unbelievable trilogies. This would be the first quadrilogy. Dre Raven says, perfect example, the Salem witch trials. There you go. Hellfong says, the court of opinion means Jack Bleep in the court of law. People seem to forget that. You know, Hellfong, you're only half right. The court of opinion shouldn't influence the court of law. But guess what? It clearly does. It clearly does. All right, let me read some of your other, because a lot of you guys had some good comments. Thank you very much for the support, guys. Thank you very, very much for the support. By the way, I'm going to be on Hotep Jesus' channel. Tonight at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern. 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be a guest with Hotep Jesus on his channel. Later today, I'm going to say between 4 and 5 o'clock, I'm going to do a live stream, and I'm going to be taking phone calls. I'm going to ask you guys, is using makeup catfishing? There was kind of a big debate on my channel before it got taken down. A lot of guys seem to think that the use of makeup is catfishing. And listen, I'm not going to say whether I agree or disagree, but I will be taking phone calls on that because I think that's going to be a very interesting conversation. I was always of the mind that, no, it's not catfishing. You know, women want to look their best. But some guys made some pretty, they didn't change my mind, but they caused me to sort of take a look at things. Devin sent me all kinds of pictures and articles of women who absolutely look like dude, I can't even talk right now. The capability of makeup is it's nothing short of wizardry. Like, that is sorcery, witchcraft, all of that. Holy cannoli. Zachary Gelby, $5, says giving drugs to make women have less inhibitions is illegal offense than a lot of guys. Oh, okay. Isn't illegal. Okay. If giving drinks or drugs to make women have less inhibitions is an illegal offense, then a lot of guys would be in trouble. Yeah. Okay. All right. Somebody else mentioned about the jogger case. The jogger case, dude. And it's funny because Devin will tell you, I remember we sat down and we started watching it, and I couldn't get through the first 15 minutes. I said, dude, matching coffee mug, TSR swag, DonovanSharpe.com. Get your hands on the swag. I couldn't get through the first 15 minutes. I was like, Devin, you got to turn this off. Yeah, turn this off. Those guys, oh my God, holy moly. I think maybe a year later I was able to watch it. But yeah, dude, the jogger case, that was insane. That was insane, man. Dude, those boys got railroaded. Antron McCrae, I can't remember all their names, man, but Corey Wise, Antron McCrae, Raymond Santana, Joseph somebody, but yeah. That was a gross miscarriage of justice. Jay Reed says Deshaun Watson is being set up. No question. I co-sign on that. Deshaun Watson is 100% being set up. 100%. Oh, boy. Oh, here we go. Makeup is gross. Thought fishing. Oh, boy. Makeup is fake up. Oh, boy. This is going to be a very, very interesting discussion. I am very, very much looking forward I'm very much looking forward to that. Blue Method says, we already been through the makeup argument. I don't think so. I want to hear what you guys have to say on the phone lines, because that's going to be very, very interesting. That's going to be very, very interesting. One more reminder, guys. One more reminder. The second Conference of Masculine Excellence. The second Conference of Masculine Excellence will be held this October 21st through the 24th. This October 21st through the 24th here in 2021. It will be held in Dallas, Texas. Tickets will be almost half the cost of what they were the first time. And that's the standard ticket. I can tell you this. I can't tell you guys what the price point is going to be, but I know that it is going to be well below four figures. Well below four figures for a ticket. That's VIP. MasculineExcellence.com. MasculineExcellence.com. Sign up to be notified via text message when updates are coming. Spread the word. Listen, if you want to go to that other convention, I'm not mad at you. I would rather you come to my conference, but hey, if you want to go to that other convention, no problem at all. But I am doing the public a service because you now have two choices. You can either go to the other convention or you can go to my conference. One of the two. That's going to do it for this edition. Wait a minute. Geeky Anomaly says there's no rivalry when it's a one-sided fight. Okay, you said it, I didn't. Jungle ENT says, when is CME coming to Atlanta? You want to know something? It's interesting. I've actually, if I'm going to do one in Atlanta, it's definitely going to have to be in the fall. Because Atlanta is stiflingly hot. And listen, I got family in Atlanta, right? Kevin Samuels is in Atlanta. It would be great if he could swing by, you know. Janik really wants me to open up the phone lines. I can't. Not for something like this. Coach Greg Adams called makeup the devil's paint. Coach Greg Adams is a goddamn fool. Yo, watching his live stream this morning, almost pissed myself. Blue Method said, Boston CME? No. No. Nope. No, the CME will never, ever, ever be in Boston. A CME in Boston, dude, I may as well do it in Montgomery, Alabama. You kidding me? Listen, love you Bostonians. Not a fan of Boston. Not a fan of Boston at all. That's going to do it, guys. I'm going to clean up my studio a little bit. I've actually got some housekeeping to do. I am completely overhauling my house. I've already overhauled my studio, so my studio's nice and clean. I need to clean up my bathroom. I need to I'm just keeping it real. There are a lot of I got to do some some spring cleaning. I never did the spring cleaning. So I got to dust off some things, got to put some stuff in storage. And all that good stuff. Oh no, now we're starting to really get Boston, no. Cincinnati, no. Hong Kong, Cancun CME, now that sounds good. I'd do a CME in Cancun. I do know for sure a 100% CME destination is definitely going to be San Diego. I'm thinking San Diego. Lake Tahoe is another, that's going to be another location. Yeah, the CME is not going anywhere, guys. The CME is not going anywhere. Like I said, my opposition hit me with everything he had. And, fortunately for us, we were able to get through it. And so I'm looking forward to that. Okay, really got to go now. I need to clean. I got a lot of cleaning to do. At 4 o'clock, I am going to do a call-in show, and I'm going to ask you guys, is makeup catfishing? Is makeup sorcery? Is makeup witchcraft? I'm very, very much looking forward to that. Thank you guys all. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm glad to have my channel back. Thank you all for your support. Guys, sign up for my newsletter, donovansharpe.com/newsletter. donovansharpe.com/newsletter, guys. This probably isn't the last time my channel is gonna get taken down, but I don't stop just because somebody reports my channel. donovansharpe.com/newsletter. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you soon.